The name of this festival, Another World is Possible, is inspired by a 1994 letter that Subcomandante Marcos, the spokesperson of the Zapatistas' indigenous liberation movement, wrote to the people and governments of the world. And it's that driving concept of this other world, this better world, that's at the cusp of our imagination that drives the vision of Eaton. And we wanted to, especially during this groundbreaking year of 2020 and the challenges that everyone has faced, to create a virtual convening space to bring together our community and share these stories of belonging and liberation. Eaton Workshop is now 6 years in the making and 2 years open at our locations in DC and Hong Kong. Our mission is to build platforms that offer conditions for the self and the collective to actualize. I've taken my biggest influences in life, grassroots activism, underground art and music, and holistic wellness, and channeled that into the properties that have under one roof cinema, artist studios, music venues, community radio stations, and I wanted this space to really reflect that sense of something more profound.
Partnering with the right people in the community to make sure that we create a space that's protected, despite all of the systemic challenges of any aged industry like this one.
Do you want to be estranged from the community, or do you want to be part of the community? And I think it's easy for a business to just have profit in mind, but if you want to be part of the community, you have to have other things that are part of that bottom line.
Physically, for folks having a space to hold their meetings, for people coming from around the country to have a place to stay when they bring their struggle to the halls of Congress. Having this as a hub, it's critical, not only for our local folks, but also for our national and international activist community.
Re-envision how it uses spaces, how it could be a space of generosity, how it could help revive imagination, how it wanted to be a space for art and culture and also for social change.
What Another World looks like is finding our passions and being able to live in it and allowing for those things to support community, to creatively live out our life and be in community with one another, be in deep and right relationship with one another.
Another world is possible. It's not just something that's far off that one day we'll achieve. Rich, poor, black, white, indigenous, any color, living self-actualization, that is the beginning of a fractal that spins outward and touches all of us. I think back on older relatives, elders in my life and ancestors and everything the struggle that they were engaged in, and it's because their process of liberation, everything they accomplished so that I can live in this way, that was their own liberation. They lived it themselves. Our realities are also different, whether we're here on K Street or we're in the mountains in Chiapas, or we're in the bayou in Louisiana or in the redwoods in California. We can accomplish so much in this lifetime.
With this festival, Another World is Possible, the films and the content are no longer just films. They become part of a larger social change movement and an imagining of a better world.
Latia Casey Camp Hornick, Environmental Ambassador for the Ponca Nation of Oklahoma. Want to say thank you to Eaton Workshops, Another World is Possible, and the support of Movement Rights. Movement Rights is a small nonprofit that helps us to support the rights of nature, and for the Ponca people, we have put that into a statute with the help of Movement Rights. And we also work hard on Indigenous rights and sovereignty and fight hard against the fossil fuel regime, doing the destructive work that they're doing against our Mother Earth. We know that this time is important for all of us to join together and to build this new system of belief that understands that we must live in harmony with all that is. And for those reasons, we're asking for your support. We'd like to ask you to donate to Movement Rights to help us to build even stronger movement together. And we would invite you as well to the December 5th showing of the Condor and the Eagle. And you get more information there. And I personally am asking you to sign a petition that Governor Stitt of Oklahoma is using as an attack on Indigenous sovereignty, another land grab on Indigenous people's territory. We need your help. Please join us. Thank you.
No Justice, No Pride is a DC-based activist group working to end complicity and oppression in the LGBTQ+ movement that marginalizes queer and trans individuals. The group's members come together to recognize that there can be no pride for some without liberation for all. This 9-minute film centers around NJNP and its director, Emalea Talarico, and organizing trainer, Tiara Moten. In addition to finding ways to organize and raise awareness around the NJNP nonprofit, Emalea and Tiara provide housing and resources for transgender women in DC with the goal of creating long-term, holistic solutions to the systemic problems faced by trans communities.
This is my room. We just did a 2-week-long action camp, and so I haven't had the most amount of time to clean up. Sometimes folks, like, they need a place to go after hours, and so sometimes they'll come to NJNP Collective and chill out here. I think last night we had like 12 people stay here, 13 people stay here. I feel like when we started like the NJNP Collective, it was like so many folks just needed housing. Like we didn't necessarily want to do it. I was living with like 2 other roommates who really did not like it at all and eventually moved out. It's kind of wild. You would never think that you're breaking the law just by like trying to give housing to someone. Do you know what I mean? Oh, they putting the bright lights on. This is wild. Fuck the people that need to sleep on the street, right? That shit's still shining on my fucking house. I'm honestly tired of this shit. This is right where basically the police would park every single night and drive cars onto here, put out their spotlights. It'd be bright enough, like it looked like it was daylight on the house, you know what I mean? Like I used to sit right on the steps and just smoke cigarettes while filming the police. They did like a safety walk out here one night because we were complaining about drug activity and prostitution out here. We never did sex work on the street or nothing like that. We kind of felt like people just were saying that because of how we dress or because we're trans and shit. We found a new place and it was like nice for a while, but then, you know, things are getting heated up there now too, and we have to be out of there on the 31st. When you have like so many like identities that are like oppressed or like marginalized, like black trans women, young black trans women, for example, there's nothing I'm gonna be able to do to remove like all of the barricades in their lives. But like the least I can do is like figure out some housing stuff and they can like work on the other things and not have to worry as much about the housing part.
Tara is very strong-minded, if you haven't noticed. Is it jazz? And
Jazz, contemporary, lyrical, modern, and hip.
she's very artsy. She falls right into the category of like theater, drama, grandstanding, Toastmasters.
My mom has been like my biggest supporter with my dancing, taking me to like dance school auditions, dance team auditions.
Once I got rejected from the Baltimore School of Arts, I started drinking, I started smoking, I started fighting. All that pretty much led up to me getting detained.
I just didn't have nowhere to go. And my nephew was at Emily's house, and Emily had like overheard the conversation. She was like, "Oh, we're gonna get you a lift. What's the address?" So my first impression, honestly, was she seems genuine, because I don't think anybody would just take random ass people in for no reason.
I went to like my first rally and stuff like that. Emily had asked me if I wanted to speak at one, and I was like, sure. And then once I got the positive energy from that, I was like, oh yeah, baby, I can do this all day. So I'm just, you know, an organizer now.
Tonight is Ball 50, which is a ball that Tira is throwing. Each year, we make sure we have an event that's not a protest or not somewhere where people have to worry about conflict, where they can just go and have fun, be themselves, heal.
I wouldn't be able to do this without my partner in crime. Emilia, can you stand up, please? Between me and Emilia, we have the same goals when it comes to activism. We have the same vision, we have the same dream to help the girls out in as many ways as we can. Even though my activist side is like real strong right now and really out there, I still want to be a choreographer. I still have my passion for dancing.
I think activism is kind of ingrained into everything that we do, and people do it in different ways. People organize in different ways. To be honest with you, I've been doing this for like 10 years now. I've done the nonprofit thing, I've done the electoral thing, I've done the union thing, I've done the gang life, I've done the sex worker life, I've done the homeless life, I don't really know what is like where to go from now.
Welcome to DC Dyke March 2019. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here today, for standing up, for showing support, for coming out of that closet, for kicking that door in, for holding that rainbow flag, for being trans, for being queer, for being a dyke, for being you, for being human, for being human. That's who we are. We are human. Let everybody know we are human and we are here. We are proud.
She wants to be my daughter, but she's clearly out of order. Shit.
I first met filmmaker Sean Mattison through his documentary on Victor Jara, one of my heroes, a political folk singer and a symbol of resistance against the Chilean dictatorship. Amidst today's global backdrop of rising authoritarian threats and threats to democracy, there's no better time than now for this film. Eaton is really honored to announce the launch and screening of Atencion, Murderer Next Door, the short film that we produced with Sean over the last year. It is about the story of how Hijos Capital and Grupo de Arte Callejero joined together in the 90s to hold former Argentine dictator accountable for his crimes against humanity. The Chilean and Argentine term for this type of direct action is called escrache. Stay tuned after the screening for a live panel with the Argentine activists from the film. Please submit your questions for them in the YouTube live stream comments section. This is a really rare opportunity to talk with them, and we'd love to hear from you. Enjoy the screening.
A mediados de los años 90 nos encontramos con la tragedia y con la incomodidad de tener que convivir con probados torturadores, secuestradores, asesinos, los responsables de un genocidio que estaban en total libertad de transitar los mismos espacios que habitábamos nosotros en nuestra ciudad. Uno podría estar en un bar y en la mesa de al lado estuviera sentado uno de los más crueles desaparecedores de personas. Mirá, la foto. Este es mi papá, 74, así que aquí tenía 30 años. Mi viejo Enrique José Juárez era dirigente de la Juventud Peronista y cineasta, desapareció el 10 de diciembre de 1976. Al día de hoy siguen callando, no dicen qué hicieron con su cuerpo.
Está manchada con sangre. No elegimos las piedras, no elegimos los golpes, no elegimos los palos.
El escrache es poner en evidencia que ahí en donde estás viviendo hay un genocida que está impune y que convive con el resto de la sociedad civil.
No puede estar en su barrio, tiene que estar en una cárcel, pero si está en tu barrio, sabe quién es.
No es una cuestión de revancha, no va a hacer justicia por mano propia, no es ir a asesinar a los militares, sino justamente a construir esta idea de justicia, construir esta idea de anti-impunidad.
Vamos a escrachar a un genocida. Si no hay justicia, hay escrache.
Nuestro reclamo era de justicia, siempre fue el mismo, juicio y castigo a los culpables. Los anteriores gobiernos no habían prestado atención. Teníamos que decir de manera pacífica lo que habían hecho estas personas y que todos lo sepan, que todos sepan que esa persona era un violador, un torturador, un asesino. Decirlo a los gritos, con pintadas, con volantes, con mucha gente en la calle tocando percusión.
La idea es que el escrache se instale y empiece a generarse con el correr de los días. Siempre dijimos que el escrache empieza el día después, cuando ya se hizo la acción, cuando ya se mostró quién vive y dónde y qué hizo, con la necesidad justamente de que eso simbólico del encarcelamiento suceda en el barrio por aislamiento.
Esa alegría que se ve es una alegría con mucha fuerza, porque había que contrarrestar a una gran parte de la sociedad que te tildaba de violento, de violenta, de estar haciendo algo prohibido.
Lo que no puede existir es la idea de decir, no estoy de acuerdo con esto, que no suceda nada, porque eso es funcional, de alguna manera, al silencio que garantiza la impunidad.
Muchas veces fuimos reprimidos en estos hechos, con gases, palos, pero a la vez que pasaba esto, cada vez éramos más.
Por eso hoy venimos hasta acá. El escrache es nuestra forma de transformar la memoria en acción. Mañana, el kiosquero decide no atenderlo, el taxista decide no llevarlo, el panadero elige no atenderlo, el diariero le niega el diario. Al día siguiente se multiplica la lucha.
Y funcionaba porque mucha gente no tenía ni idea de que esta persona que saludaba todos los días con un buen día, quizás, era responsable de los crímenes de la dictadura. Mi mamá era vestuarista de cine y teatro. Llegó muy mal de salud a la cárcel de Devoto en esta ciudad. Estuvieron detenidos sin ser juzgados, sin ser acusados, sin decir por cuánto tiempo iban a ser detenidos. Y nosotros quedamos con mis abuelos. Le preguntamos a mi tía qué le podíamos llevar a mi mamá a la cárcel. Me dijo que le llevemos una manzana, que no se le podía llevar nada porque no te dejaban pasar nada a los militares. Que a vos te la van a dejar pasar porque sos chico. Ella mordió la manzana y se la pasó a sus compañeras. A lo que yo le dije que la manzana era para ella, que era un regalo para ella, y ella me dijo que ellos compartían. Ellas compartían todo. Que ya lo iba a entender más adelante. Perdón.
Jorge Rafael Videla fue uno de los genocidas más perversos y atroces que tuvo la Argentina. Fue el ideólogo de toda la masacre que hubo en la dictadura del año 76 al 83. Es el responsable máximo de todos los desaparecidos y desaparecidas. Era la figura fundamental. Por eso era fundamental que él estuviera preso, porque si él no está preso, todos los que vienen abajo de él iban a estar absueltos.
El escrache a Videla, sí, para nosotros fue muy emblemático.
Concentramos más de 10.000 personas. Pasamos por el hospital militar, donde hay una cantidad enorme de bebés dados a luz en ese lugar, apropiados.
En ese hospital, las embarazadas que habían sido secuestradas daban a luz y perdían a sus hijos.
Videla fue uno de los organizadores del robo de los bebés de detenidas y desaparecidas. La mayoría de las mujeres embarazadas fueron asesinadas después de parir a sus bebés que fueron robados.
Muchos de esos chicos empezaron a vivir a partir de entonces con otro nombre y otra identidad.
varios nietos y nietas restituidos pudieron hablar y contar sus historias.
Recuperé mi identidad por el trabajo de la Comisión de Hermanos de Hijos y el trabajo de abuelas el 8 de octubre del 2004.
La parte muy fuerte fue para mí el final en la casa de Videla.
Estaba muy cómodamente en un departamento de lujo. Habíamos alquilado una grúa en la que subió un compañero.
Se le vuelve a poner de alguna manera delante de la casa del genocida a las víctimas.
Y queda más o menos a la altura del balcón de Videla y le habla en primera persona.
Fuiste juzgado por la sociedad en su conjunto y por toda esta gente que acá abajo te dice que no quiere vivir con asesinos, que quiere que te pudres en la cárcel. ¡Asesino! ¡Asesino! ¡Asesino!
Ese día en la casa de Videla las persianas estaban bajas y no se veía hacia adentro, había alguien o no. Generalmente no hay una cuestión de que salgan a decir yo no hice esto, qué está pasando, sino que se esconden, digo, todavía más, ¿no? Cuando hay un escrache. No es un diálogo con el genocida, es un mensaje de la sociedad al genocida y a quienes tienen que evitar que esté en una casa.
El escrache a Videla fue un hito. Al poco tiempo Videla fue juzgado por los crímenes por el robo de bebés y fue condenado y fue a cárcel común. Como correspondía que esté una persona condenada varias veces a perpetua y no en su casa.
Se cae una imagen muy fuerte del poder de la dictadura con Videla en la cárcel y muriendo incluso en cárcel común. El genocida más emblemático del terrorismo de Estado. Ya no tenía la posibilidad de ser impune para siempre.
En esos años empieza a revertirse el silencio. En esa época era imposible pensar en los juicios de lesa humanidad, que llegaron recién en 2003, cuando Néstor Kirchner asume la presidencia y se compromete a que la política de memoria, verdad y justicia que veníamos reclamando los organismos de derechos humanos iban a ser políticas de Estado. Mi mamá tenía asma y falleció por falta de atención médica. Y hay una causa por mi vieja que está en etapa de instrucción hoy día contra el servicio penitenciario y todos los que participaron de eso. Por lo menos tenemos la condena real, no la condena social, de estas personas que desaparecieron a mi padre, entre tantos otros militantes que pasaron por este lugar. El proceso de memoria, verdad y justicia en nuestro país fue un logro popular, fue una cosa insólita, inédita, es un ejemplo para todo el mundo. Nosotros tenemos una frase que es: lo imposible solo tarda un poco más. Tardamos muchísimos años en lograr que se reabrieran las causas de lesa humanidad y que se juzgara a los criminales genocidas en este país. Pero lo logramos. El silencio se acabó en nuestro país y eso es una ventaja. Pero tenemos que seguir luchando por esa memoria de esos 30.000 desaparecidos y desaparecidas. O sea que hay mucho para escrachar aún hoy.